All right. Wow. So I guess I went 5 minutes and you didn't hear anything I said? Classic. So we'll see what happens. With this session, I'm going to be talking about the chakras. We're going to talk about the root chakra first because it starts at the beginning. The first year of your life, you're working on just one chakra, and that is the root chakra. So you open up one new chakra every year of your life for 7 years. And this is a really important stage of your life because during this stage of your life, you're in a stage of development where your chakras are opening. They're finding what is good, what is bad, what are the foundations of your life energetically. So when you have, say you have a problem with your foundations, which is the root chakra, this is your stability. It is your foundations like, do I have food? Do I have water? Do I have clothing? Do I have protection? Am I safe? And money is also fits into this, but not until later in your life. So for a child, it's do I have milk? And that is all they care about. They're very, very selfish babies. Although they're very loving and compassionate, they need to support their foundation. And that's the most important thing for them. In the second year of life, they open up the sexual chakra. The sexual chakra is not just to do with sexuality. It also has to do with creation and creativity. So children will start to explore drawing. They'll start to do puzzles. They'll start to be really curious and want to make things, even though it might look like a crayon drawing that's a scribble for you. But for them, they're creating. And that's something that's a big feat for them because they've never created anything in a physical form before. So that has to do with creation. And it also has to do with sexuality as well. And this is where things are born and created. So physically, in the sexual chakra is associated with not just the reproductive organs, but conditions that end with itis, which represents inflammation of. So colitis, diverticulitis, gastritis, irritable bowel syndrome, things like this, they're all associated with the sexual chakra. But they're not limited to just that. They're also connected to erectile dysfunction and a lack of fluid in women areas as well as any uterine issues that might come up. That's why this first 7 years of your life are so important because that is when your cells are programmed. Now, because of that, you can get really messed up if you have a shitty childhood. And you may spend the rest of your life, if you work on self-development as your life, like myself, removing these layers of conditioning that have been laid upon you during your time in childhood. So say, for example, if you're dancing and someone says, oh, you're a shitty dancer, what happens is you begin to close up. That's your creation. Dancing is creation. Music is creation. Art is creation. These are things that come to you from spirit. That's how you get your ideas. And yeah, so anyway, we're going to move on to the next chakra. The next chakra is the solar plexus chakra. And this is where the ego lives. It has to do with your personal power, your drive, and we're often spending time trying to destroy the ego. But it's not wise to destroy something that is of yourself because you need to accept it, acknowledge it, and say, yes, yes, I know that you want the big house and the Lexus and you want the granite countertop and everything that I'm told that I want. It's important that these things you want because you want them, not because you're told that you want them. So I think that's another big thing to talk about. And because people don't question why they want something in their life. they spend time, their whole lives actually trying to achieve something that they think that they want, but in reality, they don't know what they actually want. They just want it because everyone else tells them that they should want it. So this is something that's really important to understand. And if you just take this one lesson from my whole chat, this will be a victory in your life, I hope. So find out what makes you happy, find out what excites you, and move towards that, because that is super important to finding out what do you actually love. Maybe you don't love sports cars, and if you do, find out what is it about them that you love. Do you just love them because nobody else has them? Or do you love them because, you know, that's something you just love? I don't know. I can't explain it any better than that. Maybe you just like going fast. So the solar plexus chakra is also called the sun chakra. It's a bright chakra. It's yellow in color, actually. And it's right next to the heart chakra, actually. So the first three chakras, the root, the sexual, and the solar plexus chakra, represent the bottom tier of your chakras. The heart chakra is in the middle and is the most important chakra, in my opinion, because this is where I do most of my work, and this is where people store the most trauma in their lives. After that, you have the next three chakras, which are the throat, the third eye, and the crown chakra. And they represent higher aspects of life. So in life, people have a focus. Usually someone is focused on one particular chakra depending on their incarnation. So if someone has a primary, their aura is purple primarily, then they're going to have very spiritually guided life. They're going to be concerned with self-development and growth. If someone has a sexual chakra that is their primary chakra in their life, then they're going to be very creative. They can be sexual, very sexual. And sometimes that is the primary mission in their lives, is to experience these aspects. So let's go back to the sun chakra, the solar plexus chakra, for a second in childhood. When a child is at 3 years of age, this is when the ego is the most active, because they're working on this chakra, but they're also working on the bottom two chakras as well. This is the me stage. And if you know babies, you know that they are very, very selfish at around 3 years old. And this is why. So the heart chakra. This is the most popular chakra to have issues with that are very obvious. And that's because of Western society's view on exchanging emotions with other people. A lot of times people don't have somebody that they can just go to and talk to. And that's a big deal, because they have to go to a psychologist to actually have a conversation and be able to open up and share with people. And a lot of people frown on people that see psychologists because maybe they think they have something wrong with them or whatever. They're judging them. So there's nothing wrong with communication, and there's nothing wrong with sharing your emotions with people. And that's an issue that we have to work on as Western society. So with the heart chakra, you begin with this bright flower, and it's open, it's nice, it's glowing, it's green. And what happens is, as you receive abuse in your life, someone might say shitty things to you, or as a child you might have been abused in some way. This causes the heart chakra to begin to close. And when this happens, the body will tell you that this corruption is there. So negative energy and corruption are the same, and they will stick in the heart chakra, just like they'll stick in any other chakra. If you have a problem with abundance in your life, it has to do with the root chakra and the sexual, because That's your foundation, which is wealth, and creation. So the ability to create wealth. So chakras often work together in synergy with each other to accomplish a task. And if one chakra is out of balance, then it can affect the chakra above it and below it, depending on how far out of balance it actually is. The heart chakra, this is where love comes in and goes out. As I was saying before, the heart chakra will prevent any further corruption. It will only allow itself to be so corrupt, and then what happens is it closes, but it doesn't fully close off to protect the last little bit of light that's held within it. And your body will tell you that that's there by creating physical symptoms. And depending on the chakra, the physical symptoms will vary. But with the heart chakra, it's the lungs, it's the heart itself, it is everything in this area, I'm going to say, including the shoulders, including the elbows, the arms, and the hands. So if you have shoulders that are in a lot of pain, it's connected to the heart. And that's your body telling you that you have to work on these parts of your body. It's time to work on the heart. It's time to have some emotional release. And the best way to heal yourself is through meditation. And you can go to an energy healer who might be able to see these issues that you might not be aware of yourself. Because a lot of things, if someone's sensitive to energy, then they're sensitive to the energetic field. And since we're energy, they can feel where there's discrepancies and problems in the body. All right, we're going to talk about the throat chakra next. The throat chakra is communication. It's your ability to express. It's your, if you have problems with this, then you can't quite say what's on your mind. You can't go from a mental thought process to getting it out. You can think about it, but you just can't express it. And a lot of people have this issue with their life because they get cut off by people. Maybe they're with someone that has an overactive throat chakra. And because of this, they love hearing their own voice. They love to have their opinions expressed. They love everything about communication, but maybe not so much about listening. So that's really important. And a lot of people, it's good to realize that not everyone that's really quiet and reserved has a problem with the throat chakra. Sometimes it's partially because of that. But sometimes people just are more reserved as a soul, and that is just the way that they live their life. So that's okay. It's just one of their personality traits, and that's totally different. Next, we're going to talk about the third eye chakra. And this is a big one because everybody, I guess it's the most popular chakra to talk about. It's depicted as the Eye of Horus in Egypt, and this is that Egyptian eye. It looks like an Egyptian eye, but it's really a cross section of the pineal gland if you were to cut it in half. So because the pharaohs had really strong connection with the afterlife, they communicated with the gods after all, and the process of going from king to pharaoh was death, and then coming back after having an NDE or a near-death experience, and they came back with these psychic gifts. That's what would happen. It's not uncommon for people that have had physical death then come back, like a drowning or a heart attack or something like that, and they've seen the light, you know, things like that. So that's not uncommon. The third eye is responsible for psychic abilities. That is also important to know because it's blocked by a lot of things that are in mainstream culture, like fluoride. So fluoride blocks and calcifies the pineal gland. So does chlorine and bromide. And once the pineal gland is calcified, it has trouble working. Obviously, it's a physical gland in the brain. The pineal gland starts the size of a pea. And after growing it, after developing it, what happens is it grows to the size of a walnut. So that is a pretty big difference in size. And a lot of people that have experienced psychedelics, I'm going to say like marijuana, magic mushrooms, to a lesser degree acid, and ayahuasca and peyote and things like that. What happens with mushrooms, for example? Oftentimes people will experience a popping sensation inside their head. And that popping sensation is someone experiencing the calcium breaking off of the pineal gland. And when this happens, the body will naturally remove this calcification and it will be allowed to flow out the body. And then it can grow from there after it's not calcified anymore. It doesn't have a shell around it. And then you'll start to develop your abilities more and more and stronger. Moya asks, oh, and MDMA, Ryan says as well, yeah. What about someone that has seizures? Is the third eye causing the situation? How can you change it, or can you? Seizures are associated with the third eye chakra. So if you're having seizures, what's happening is there's energy coming through the crown chakra, and it's moving down your energetic system down to the root chakra, and then it's grounding through the root. When you have a seizure or a spasm, what's happening is energy is getting blocked somewhere. And in this case, for a seizure, it is the third eye chakra that has a blockage. That chakra has to be opened, and then the energy can flow and ground properly. Because when the energy comes through at really strong bursts, it gets stuck. It hits a resistor, which is the blockage. And once it hits a resistor, it dissipates in the area of the chakra, which is the brain, essentially. So if you're having spasms anywhere else in the body, if it's in the stomach, then it's probably associated with the solar plexus or the sexual chakra. People that have heart palpitations, that could be a minor blockage in the heart chakra. Okay. Does that answer your question, Moya? All right. Well, I think that answers it. So the next chakra is the crown chakra. This is really important. This represents your connection to source, which is the connection to the creator. I don't like the word God, but I'll say source, which is what we're all composed of. And if you have a problem with the crown chakra, then it can cause Alzheimer's, dementia, things like this, which are blocked by Alzheimer's is from heavy metals, toxicity, and that aluminum, these other heavy metals, they cause interference. Just like a television, those bunny ears that they had on televisions, the aluminum would actually help the signal, but for humans, it destroys the signal. And it affects the soul's ability to connect to the pineal gland, which is where it's connected. It's called the seat of the soul for a reason, because if your pineal gland is damaged, then you die instantly, because your soul can't manifest in the body. The crown is our connection, and it's open and closed by your ability to believe in a higher form, or whatever that is. It could be any religion. It can be if you believe that there's some sort of creator in any form, then your crown chakra will be relatively open depending on many things in your life. But if you don't have this belief, what happens is your crown chakra can begin to close. If it actually closes completely, you die. That's why in energy healing, I never touch the crown chakra. If you're doing energy healing, never touch the crown chakra. Don't mess with that, for obvious reasons. We talked about the root, sexual, solar plexus, heart, throat, third eye, crown chakra. Now we're going to talk about a new chakra, and my guides told me about this. It's called the temple chakra. At least that's what I call it. It's located right here, and obviously right on your temples. That's why I called it that. And it has to do with your ability to see future outcomes. When this is blocked, and it can be blocked by people that take away your dreams. For example, if you had a dream, say you always wanted to be a great dancer, and then someone's like, you can never be a good dancer. You had your whole life mapped out before that. You're like, I'm going to be a dancer. I'm going to go to school. I'm going to do this and that. And you had it all imagined in your mind. And then this person goes and tells you you can't make enough money being a dancer, so you can never be a dancer. That causes that chakra to begin to close, and it can drastically close it. And because of that, you won't be able to see your future anymore. It prevents you from seeing and having hope, which can often cause depression. That's the chakras in a nutshell. There's a lot more than 8. A lot of people talk about 12. as a minimum, but there's way more than that. So for now, that's enough about chakras. My name is David Lotherington, and I'm a master energy healer. I hope you guys learn lots of stuff. This is my first live recording, so thanks so much for your support, guys. Thanks for coming, checking it out. I really appreciate it. And if you have any questions about what you heard on the video, or any questions that you have in your life in general about healing, you can just post it on the Camelot Healing site or the Facebook group, and I'll answer them as quick as I can, okay? So, bye guys, love you.